to ask you a question about our equipment, get in touch with me. I can get them in touch with Kay, and Kay is our media representative, and they will handle all communication with the media. And that kind of goes for speaking with election board members. They might want to talk to you about the equipment and why it functions a certain way it does, how it's programmed, where it's programmed, that type of thing. We don't really get into that. That's not what we're there to do. We're there to support the election, assist with the equipment, but we're not going to be talking about, certain thresholds on marking and, what is going to be seen as a vote, what's not going to be seen on a vote, and, the true details of the system. If they do have questions like that, like I said, get them in touch with me. I'll do my best to answer those questions. If I can't, we can get them in touch with Kay or the engineering department to help elaborate how the system was built and how it functions in a more detailed way. Okay? So today we do have some equipment set up around here. Obviously, with everything that's going on in the social distancing aspect of the world, this is going to be an open house all day. So we're not just going to go for 6 or 7 hours straight and everybody in the room and go from piece of equipment to piece of equipment and train you that way. What I would like to do is have people kind of set times and change on the hour every hour, so that way you can come in and get some real hands-on experience with all the pieces of equipment from the ICC. We'll go over the ICP. Really, you won't be doing too much with the ICP, with the exception if you're a rover. You'll be swapping those out. The last thing we want you to do is go into a site and open up a machine in front of everybody and work on a machine there. So we have some spares here that the rovers will be handed out, and so we'll just swap those out. We won't want to create a bad perception in the view of the public. If you start working on voting equipment at a polling location, that creates a bad perception. Okay? But yeah, so we'll go through that from the ICP. We'll get you some hands-on work with the ICX, and then we'll go over some reporting in RTR and what the county is looking for at the end of the night or when ballots are done with the statements of votes cast report. That'll be the instructions on the very last few pages in your workbook on what they're expecting, and it's pretty step-by-step on how to go and set those filters to accomplish what they're looking for. Okay? So today we'll go through our checklist here, and the first thing we're going to do once we get done is we're going to contact our customer wherever you've been assigned. If you were a rover, the assignments were just coming through from the county on where those were going to be stationed. Those are going to be on page 3. So if you haven't gotten word, Lonnie, Jordan, Gary's not here, Amy, Nikki, and Nellie, you all are rovers, so on page 3 you can find your assignment there. On the second page is going to be where all of our customer contact information is. So like I said, the first thing once we exit this room here is to go make a phone call to the main contact for your customer that you've been assigned, and we want to make sure what time we need to be there tomorrow, what the actual location address is. From my understanding, a lot of this is going to be at the city halls. Okay, very rarely is it moved from the city hall. In some instances, it has been moved from the city hall just because they've had such a mass influx of absentee ballots. They need more room to process those ballots. So definitely communicate that with them. And also try to gauge how many ballots they've received so far, how many they're expecting. Really kind of feel out the process, Don't feel discouraged on asking more details. You can ask whatever questions you might want to know. How many ballots can you open per hour? How long into the night are you willing to work? Are you going to have a swing shift that comes in from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m.? Or do you plan to be done counting at midnight or 1 a.m.? Do you plan to stop counting at 10 p.m. or midnight, come back at 8 a.m. the next day? So try to gauge what their plans are. We've been in communications with a few of the larger ones like Detroit, Livonia, and those areas. Some of the smaller ones, it shouldn't go past 1 or 2 a.m. It definitely has the chance to go, so like I said, just try to gather all the details to help prepare you for tomorrow. Also, another thing on preparing for tomorrow, you shouldn't be leaving the location. You know, so if you need to get Grubhub or whatever it is on your phone to have delivery, that's all right. I would strongly suggest packing water, bottles of water, juice, or whatever it's going to be. Pack a lunch and some snacks to keep you going through the day. We don't want you leaving for an hour to go take lunch in the middle of the day, you know. Basically, the standard is for every 4 or 5 hours you work, you get a half-hour uninterrupted eating break. Please use good discretion at that. You know, we don't want you taking your dinner break at 8 p.m. when the polls close. You know, so make sure that you're working that out with your customer. Let them know, you know, hey, I'm going to go take my lunch or whatever it may be. Like I said, we don't really want you leaving the building. If you want to go outside and have lunch under the tree or whatever it may be, that's fine. But we don't want you leaving for an extended period of time. When you get to your site, we want to confirm that all the LAT results have been purged, or excuse me, today when you're on the phone, we want to confirm that all the logic and accuracy results have been purged, and that they have their zero tapes ready to go. Election Source comes in, is a dealer of ours that works up here. They conduct a lot of the logic and accuracy testing, meaning they're running all the test ballots through, they're testing the ICXs and the ICPs. I've been around to a lot of the sites to confirm that everything has been reset to zero, but I haven't been able to make it to all of them. So be sure to ask them that they've, you know, purged out all their results today. If they need assistance in that, that's not a problem. If you're unable to assist in that, please come and get me or contact me, call me. I can call them, or one of the folks that are really familiar with the system can call them, and they can walk them through purging out those results. Confirm a new adjudication session was started for live ballots. This doesn't necessarily have to be started today, and not everybody uses adjudication. So on the second page, you can see all your customers. In those first few columns at the top, you're going to see, you know, ICP, ICX, ICC, adjudication, modem, and if they have a listener or not. This goes over how many pieces of equipment each customer has at their location or throughout their precincts. So if they do show adjudication on here, we want to make sure that they have stopped the previous session from their logic and accuracy testing. If they haven't stopped it and we go in and we try to stop it tomorrow, it can take 15 to 20 minutes for all the services in the background to stop and then start again. And if you try to rush that process and try to stop and then start right away, and then there's an option to force stop, and you can eventually air out the system that way. So we want to make sure that they have plenty of time to stop those services today and then restart them tomorrow morning or later today if needed. Okay. Said ask the clerk what time you should arrive tomorrow, and then confirm the location and address and who you should report to. In some cases, the clerk may not want to talk to you. It's just part of their job. They have an elections director, and they really are a hands-off clerk, some of them. But chances are, most places you're going, the clerk is it in some of these smaller communities, but like Detroit. If you're a part of Detroit, we're not contacting the clerk. Okay, and for Detroit, Danielle is going to be the contact person, and you'll call Tim today, schedule all that with him. We've already been in contact with Tim about all that. You're going to start tomorrow at about 6 a.m. is when everybody's going to show up there, and then you'll call Tim as well and set up when and where that warehouse is. I'm pretty sure the address we sent you is the correct one, but definitely confirm that you're not going somewhere else.
So to be clear, if we call the clerk and the clerk doesn't want to talk, doesn't want to speak with us, then we try to speak with the elections director?
So there's a main contact. So on that page with your customer, it goes who the clerk is and then who the main contact. So if the main contact is the clerk, they're going to want to talk to you.
Okay.
And then there's also an other contact to get you further down the line. Not everybody has another contact. So start with the main contact, not the clerk, and then move to the other contact if you can't get a hold of either one of them.
Okay.
call the clerk. But it's all the same office, so.
So I got an email saying that they were gonna initially put me at the warehouse in Detroit, but they think that they're gonna move me to the TFC building.
Yeah, we're gonna move you to the TCF Center.
Oh, TCF.
Down there, yeah. Yeah, we have a few folks that have come in from Texas to assist with all the repairs of the equipment. We feel that it's gonna be necessary to have as many people as we can at the TCF Center.
Okay.
It's gonna be a major operation down there. I think they're gonna have probably close to 600 people, 700 people in that area. They're running 25 scanners there, 13 adjudication stations, and then having about 400 or 500 people open ballots. So it's a pretty massive operation.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll have some strong people there with you.
Mm-hmm.
Samuel's one of them, strong on the server, knows just about everything there is about the system. So they can help guide you with anything there.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So on Tuesday, when you show up, we are hands-off in Michigan. We are not permitted to touch the equipment in any way up here, with the exception of clearing the paper jam from the scanner, or helping clear a paper jam out of the ICP. You are not to get on their servers and actually run reports for them. Okay, if they tell you that you need to get on there and scan ballots or handle ballots in any way, to get on there and run RTR and run the reports for them, you are not allowed to do that. And if they have an issue with that, please direct them to me, and I'll communicate that with them, that the law prevents us from touching their equipment. Okay? Everybody clear on that? Say it again. We don't want to be touching their equipment. We don't want the liability. We don't want the press saying, well, so-and-so doesn't even live here, or a vendor, or third-party vendors, operating our election. We don't want to bring that attention on ourselves, and we're not allowed to do it anyways. So please do not let them talk you into it, okay? Also, never be in the ballot counting room or where absentees or ballots are without an escort, all right? You don't want to be left alone in the room with a server. And even if they're going to step out and go to the restroom real quick, you step out of the server room as well. Okay, like I said, perception is everything in the elections business, and we don't want to put out the wrong perception. So yeah, we're going to be supporting the scanning of absentee ballots. We're going to be supporting adjudication. Like I said, support does not mean doing. Some of these folks, they might say, well, I paid good money for you to come up here. I want you to do it. That's not how things are done. And I've been told that on on-site support. I've had people try to get me to scan ballots while I've been on site, and we don't do that, okay? In some other states, that might be okay, but in Michigan, it's not okay. We're going to assist the customer in the validating and publishing of results on election night. That's all going to be in a guide in here, some instructions that we have. We have quick reference guides throughout the book that go over how to reset the listener if they haven't reset their listener and purged everything out. Like I said, I've been to a lot of these places and reset it for them and purged everything out for them, but you're going to want to confirm that today. How to go over the ImageCast Central and scanning, quick reference guides in there. How to clean an ICP with ICP cleaning sheets. They should have ICP cleaning sheets. If they don't, we have a few that the rovers are going to be given, and the rovers can go and clean out that ICP for them. You're not going to leave their central count area and go clean an ICP unless they have an ICP cleaning sheet that you can use, because we just don't have enough to give out to everybody, so the rovers are going to be allocated that supplies. We're going to assist the clerk in exporting the results from either the ICC or RTR to upload. So some folks, just because they use the ICC does not mean that they're going to use adjudication or RTR. Okay, everybody is different in Wayne County. There's 42 municipalities that are running out of one project. Some have adjudication, some don't. Some have RTR, some don't. Some are just going to export out of their ICC. Some are going to export out of RTR. So it's really tough for us to give you a manual exactly on a standard process, because everybody's going to function differently. So today, clarify what type of equipment they have, It should be on the third page what kind of hardware you're actually going to be working with. In the third column, or excuse me, the fourth column. So when you do come into the open house today, you can kind of sit on those machines and get familiar with them. If your customer doesn't have RTR and adjudication, there's really no need for you to spend time on that. You really need to focus on the ICC and how that operates. At the end of the night, if they use RTR and adjudication server, we're going to want to create a project package backup for them. You're not going to want to do this through the middle of the day or at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. This is something you do right before you leave for the night so it can run through the middle of the night. To start out, this project is 10 gigs, 11 gigs I think to be exact, and for that to back up takes an hour, at least an hour. And when you're going to create a project package, you don't want to be using the ICC, you don't want to be adjudicating ballots or anything like that. You want the system to be stopped so you can get an accurate backup of the project. Like I said, you just wait until the end of the night. It's the last button you click before you put all your stuff together and walk out the door.
You mean it's the last button they click that
Correct.
we observe?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes. Yes.
So we'll be clear.
Yeah. We're backseat drivers all day long. We're not the driver of the car. We're going to be walking them through it. And in some instances, it's going to be me on the phone with you relaying the message. Does everybody have a smartphone?
Yep.
Okay. Does everybody know how to do video chats on their smartphone? Okay, because that's going to be a very valuable tool. And if you don't, we can kind of go through that.
What
Yes.
service are you using for video chats? Can we call you on Teams or?
If you want to call me on Teams, that's fine. If you want to call me on like a Samsung video chat, that's fine. If you want to set up a Zoom, that's fine too. I've got access to all three of those. I don't have an iPhone, so I think there are certain applications on the iPhone. I use the good phones. I don't use the iPhone.
Thank you.
Because if I'm sure, I really don't believe that iPhone support Teams, so.
No, they do.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, you can download it. I video chat using that on an iPhone.
If there is an issue, I'll send you a Zoom invite, so just download the Zoom application on your phone, and then we can go from there. Generally, we should be able to talk you through over the phone. If we run into any error messages or if adjudication stops working for any reason, one, I'm going to probably escalate the issue to somebody much more intelligent than myself that can handle those issues. And they're going to want to see pictures, they're going to want to talk about pulling logs, and they're going to probably want to do some video chat with you so that you can basically just hold the phone on the screen and they can tell you where to go to find that information they're looking for. Okay? You know, we're not expecting you to know where to go find the logs and how to pull those down or anything like that. I think our main goal is to have somebody there who is calm, collected, and can communicate between us and the customer. I think the biggest challenge we run into for folks that don't have on-site support, it is a very stressful day. And I can tell you that I was on the public side for a very long time. You have the media all over you, you have election judges all over you, you have voters yelling at you, you have activists, lawyers, poll watchers, and everybody wants a piece of you, and everybody wants to tell you a lot of times that you're doing your job wrong in running the election. So they get very stressed out. And when something happens with a piece of equipment, they really get frustrated. So it's best that we speak to you so you can speak to them, because generally if they call us, they're gonna want to yell at us for something, you know? So we need to talk to a calm person so we can get a solution and not just hear why our equipment's not working and how this is unacceptable. Does that make sense? Yeah. On Wednesday, all of you, with the exception of a few who we've kind of already talked to, are going to be going home. Our support ends on noon on Wednesday. So be sure to, when you talk to your customer, ask them, you know, do you expect us to work until done? Are we going to go home at midnight, come back at 8 a.m.? You'll be there for 4 hours of support. You are not supposed to stay there past noon on Wednesday. And we've communicated with these clerks, there's only one, Livonia and, well, Detroit, who have extended support.
And I think me as well.
Well, Wayne, yeah, you're staying till Friday, I'm staying, these guys are staying till Friday.
Okay.
But the majority in the room, you're all done on Wednesday. If they say, no, you cannot leave, we need you here, like, we're not done counting, which is a big possibility. I think these folks are very overwhelmed with absentee ballots right now. They are normally a precinct voting, where everything transmits at the end of the night and they don't have to worry about mail ballots. I think they've been bombarded with over 50% of the electorate asking for absentee ballots, and now they can only start opening the ballots today if they have over 10,000 voters, and then they can only start scanning tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. until complete. So I think a lot of them think they're going to be done tomorrow night. With my experience in mail ballot, I think it's going to go into Wednesday morning. I would expect to be there long hours till probably 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Some individuals, you may prepare for over a 24 to 36 hour day.
Was Michigan one of those states where you had to request a ballot, or did they send them out to everybody?
You have to request it. Yeah, you have to request the absentee. But everywhere I've been going the past 3 weeks, there's lines out the door for people to get absentee. Like I said, in a lot of areas, it's been over 50% of their electorate is requested an absentee, and they've almost gotten 100% back in some areas of those requests.
So they're not scanning already?
No,
They can't scan
They're
until
not allowed
tomorrow?
to.
they cannot start scanning until tomorrow at 7 a.m. And only the bigger areas are allowed to start opening today. So, for instance, River Rouge, where Lynn's going, you know, they only have 1,600 absentee ballots back so far.
Pretty unnecessary.
And I don't think they're gonna get much more than that. So it might be a little easier day. However, they might not have the equipment that's going to push them over the edge to get it done. Or they might not bring in enough people to open and separate. I think one of the rovers, well, no, I think it's a full-time support in Dearborn Heights. John, I think you're gonna be there.
With, Quickly Take Off?
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. They think they're going to be done on time, but chances are, I mean, from my experience, there's no way.
Dearborn Heights has a huge Arabic population, and they have a lot of absentee ballots this year.
Yes.
Like the whole community, the Greek community, the Arabic community, we all kind of went absentee this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the story for the whole county, you know. Everybody didn't want to go to the polls, they wanted to vote their mail ballot, so they didn't have to go stand in line on election night due to the current situation, so. Last key point, please do not forget to send your command center emails. If you're at Detroit, whether that's the TCF Center or the warehouse, there's been a dedicated person to send those emails for you. So you don't have to worry about doing that, Melissa. Danielle's gonna take care of all that for you guys. So you'll all show up as a team, but you don't have to worry about sending that communication. You guys are just gonna focus on support, and you'll have kind of a liaison person to run all the communication for you. So let's start going through some of the quick reference guides. I don't want to spend really any time on them, going through step by step, but we'll just go over what's enclosed and go ahead.
Any issue with having this on site? Obviously, it's a quick reference guide for, or do you not bring it on site?
No, you can bring this on site. None of this is really well, it's internal to us and the customer, right? We're not showing the public this, we're not showing the media this or anybody like that. If the customer wants a copy of this, we can send them a copy of this. They can make a Xerox of this. A lot of this stuff has already been sent out to the customer. But in the current time, you know, everybody's so busy, they put a piece of paper here, it goes away. People have thousands of emails in their inbox that they haven't gotten a chance to read yet, so they may have received it, may not. So feel free to let them Xerox it if they want. The first one is the ImageCast listener reset procedure. Like I said, we're going to want to call our customers today, make sure that the listener has been reset. They're going to say, well, David came by and reset it. I did. I went to pretty much everybody with a listener. I don't think I missed anybody. Confirm that they have not done any ICP testing and transmissions since that listener has been reset. That is very key to this operation, because we don't want to start with results in the queue from testing, because then their ballot is going to be off and we're going to run into issues why they're over 400 ballots.
Can you say that again? Sorry.
To confirm that all their listener has been reset.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, you won't have to worry about this, because Danielle's going to call Detroit and confirm this for you. And Danielle, I'll sit there with you, because I prefer to be on that call, especially with Detroit.
David, you said no ICP something, what was it?
I'm sorry?
You said something about no ICP.
No ICP testing has been done since then. So a lot of these folks are training, they're poll workers, and over the past couple of weeks, they've been running test transmissions. One to make sure it's going through to the county, another to make sure it's coming through to them through the ICP. Excuse me. I've been there, I communicated the best I could, do not touch the ICPs anymore. Your testing should be done. You can't be training with them or anything like that. You can't play with them, because if you run a transmission, it goes into the listener, and then those results sit there. Yes?
Also, too, what I've done here in the past to kind of help alleviate that, at least on the county side, because we do get some people that are very excited to close the polls at 7:01 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I do unplug the modem at the county, and then when polls close about an hour before, I do plug it back in. So that way no transmissions, if they are going to make it to the county during that day.
Okay.
So.
I would say for the county, that would be all right.
Yeah, definitely for the county, yeah. And I'm
Yeah,
not saying anything, nobody touch anything like that. I'm just saying for my purpose,
Mhm.
when I'm at the county, that's what I do to alleviate that kind of thing. Because we have seen that stuff before randomly in the middle of the day in ICP transmits. So it's like, okay, so we don't, that's my, nobody touch. That's just me at the county,
Okay.
so,
Well noted. Yeah, I'm not going to be touching it.
yeah, please don't. Please nobody.
If for some reason they did do any testing, the instructions here, I've gone through them personally, and everything is really a step-by-step. Click these buttons here, click this button here. If you're uncomfortable walking them through that listener reset, or even how to confirm, like I said, everything should be done. If they haven't touched anything, we're good to go. But if they still want to confirm, and you're uncomfortable doing that, come on down to the room here. We'll call them together. We'll go through it all over the phone with them, and that's just fine. Okay.
Hey, David, now, although that they may say, yeah, it's been reset, is it something that we should verify, like, in the morning prior to, just for reconfirmation, to make sure it has been properly done, or?
If you want, yeah, like I said, I know I've been to every one of them. Like I said, I don't think I missed any of them. There's only like 16 or 17. The only thing is if they have done testing, a lot of them shouldn't have done testing. I forget, where are you going tomorrow?
Taylor.
You're going to Taylor, so you're going to Sarah?
Yeah.
Sarah's good.
Sarah's really good.
Okay.
Like, yeah, Sarah's very on point. She knows our equipment really well.
Okay.
I think she was very concerned with adjudication this year. It's her first go around with that.
Okay.
But yeah, they shouldn't have done anything, and she won't test again since I've been there.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
very good.
So I think you can trust her pretty good on
Okay.
that. So, but if you want to double check that, that's perfectly okay.
Okay.
You're just going to go into the listener and find the Taylor tabulators. I don't have a listener here that we can work on, but I can walk you through it tomorrow over the phone if you want to confirm that, or if she wants to confirm it.
Okay.
But like I said, Taylor 100%, I can tell you is
You're good. Okay.
Your next set of instructions is going to be how to set up the ICC. We'll go through, we'll let you scan today during the open house. We'll simulate double feeds and paper jams in the ICC, so you can get familiar on how to open that up, remove the paper jam. If you're a rover, we do have replacement roller kits, so we can go over the process on how to remove those rollers out of the scanner, put the new ones in. We do have to log all that information, so if we're switching inventory in any way or using some of our consumables, we do charge the customer for certain things. So if you are a rover and we're going to do a roller replacement, we have to keep track of that so we can bill them later on. In the ICC, we're gonna go over how to scan, how to make sure our scanning options are set correctly, how to confirm if the secondary path is set correctly. So then eventually we can troubleshoot. If they're saying, well, I'm not getting any ballots in adjudication, I'm not seeing our batches come up in RTR, we'll go through all that during the hands-on training throughout the day to make sure you're able to troubleshoot certain things and see something that might be out of the ordinary. If everything seems set in those troubleshooting, chances are it could be a bigger issue, and then that's where you're going to want to get in touch with us. And like I said, at any given time when you're on site and you're having issues and you're not familiar how to troubleshoot that issue, do not hesitate to call. We have a lot of people on standby on phone support that if I can't get to you, Kirsty is going to be there. She'll be able to walk you through a lot of it. We'll be able to get you in touch with maybe even Jordan. He'll be a rover running around. He can come by and fix some stuff or talk you through it over the phone. And then we have a whole help desk back in Denver in the command center where those folks will be able to get everything worked out for you. So please do not hesitate to call at all. That is the biggest thing I can stress is just call us before we all start pressing buttons. If you're a rover, like I said, we'll go over how to clean the ICPs. We'll go through it kind of with everybody as well, just so, if they have an ICP cleaning sheet, you can get accustomed to it. Really, all it is a card with a pad on it. You put a little distilled water on it, or just use a little water, and just run it back and forth into the ICP. You don't want a lot of water, right? You don't want to soak the inside of the motherboard or anything. But just enough to get the ink off of there. What happens is there's some Mylars inside the ICPs, and if they use the wrong type of pen, like a ballpoint pen or anything like that, and then they run that through, the ink gets on the Mylar, and eventually that starts to cause misreads, or it can cause overvotes. It can really do a lot of damage to the machine. So that's what those ICP cleaning sheets are for. Again, if you are a rover and have to replace an ICP, you'll contact me, I'll get you the ICP, and we don't want to be taking apart anything on site. Again, it's just a quick switch. You give them the machine, we document it, take the machine, and that's it. We're not opening anything up. The next setup here is adjudication.
How do you know if it needs to be cleaned or not?
I'm sorry?
How do you know if a system needs to be cleaned or?
How to misreads.
Yeah, generally you're going to get a lot of misreads, just constant, and it's just going to stop accepting ballots in there. Because what happens in an ICP, it's not going to accept an overvote. So if somebody makes a mistake on their ballot and tries to overvote a contest, when they put it in, it gets rejected. Now there's a cast button on there to where you can override that overvote and accept the ballot. But generally somebody's going to get an opportunity to change their ballot. If you constantly get those misreads that are going in and there's no overvote on there, then you know that there's some issues with the Mylars inside, or there's an issue with the machine.
How would we know
So
that?
it'll be rejected.
We're not gonna be at the precinct.
You're going to get calls. They're going to call the clerk, and then the clerk's probably going to talk to you and say, well, I've got issues with an ICP. Can you go look at it? Yeah, you can go look at it, but chances are we're going to want to call a rover to go over there probably really quickly and clean that out. Now, if they have ICP cleaning sheets, which a lot of them do, have inventories, they send those out to their precincts. They can pretty much do it on their own, and you can suggest, use your ICP cleaning sheet to go through to clean that. And if they're still having issues, you can go do that. And then if there's still issues, let's just replace the machine. Go ahead.
Yeah, here they use those detachable strips on their ballots. Sometimes they come off when you feed them through the ICP. So if you run into that situation, just check the tail end of the ICP where the ballot comes out. And a lot of times little strips will get jammed up in there and just pull them out. They're not supposed to be detached. Sometimes the voter, they'll try to detach it before they take it to the poll worker, and and they try to feed it through, but
sometimes that happen. I've received them in bikini like that, so,
Okay.
every now and then they will detach, but not all of them.
Sure, yeah, those ballot stubs at the end.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Those stubs at the top, yeah, sometimes the voters they'll start to take them off, and then the poll worker will probably tell them, hey, you can't take that off, and then they'll try to feed it anyway, and it'll detach while it's feeding through, and, so you might find that problem out there in the field, yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks, Warren.
Mhm.
I mean, you guys know probably a lot more than myself on ICPs for sure. You guys work on them every day, so maybe we should everybody has everybody's phone number on page
Yeah.
3. So, if I tell you, call Warren about that, he might be able to help you troubleshoot an ICP a little bit better than myself, that's for sure. I mainly focus on RTR and actually coding elections and ballots and projects, so the voting equipment is definitely not one of my specialties. I'm very open about that. Starting adjudication. This is probably something that if your customer has adjudication is going to need to be done tomorrow morning. And you can go through the steps with them on setting all the filters to set up adjudication. Like I said, all previous sessions have to be stopped for about 15 to 20 minutes. So if you go and try to set up an adjudication session and it says start new or resume, we want to start new. Every time we want to start new right now, because if we resume, we're going to resume the old session that they have for their testing or their trainings. And we don't want anything in adjudication. So we're definitely going to want to start new. Like I said, if that arises and then you get this message that says force stop or wait, call me right away. We'll go through it together, make sure that everything gets started properly on that. So, for the filters, this is really important for the folks that are supporting customers with adjudication. If you're going through the filters with them, we do not want them to select blank contest. We don't want them to select undervote at all. If they select blank contest and an undervote, they will pretty much probably adjudicate every single ballot that they scan. We had a customer do that in August. They ended up having like 90,000 ballots to adjudicate. When really you should be adjudicating 1 or 2 ballots every 50. So blank contest, not blank ballot, but blank contest and undervote should never be selected. Okay? Say it again. Blank contest and undervote should never be selected. And they should know that, because you're going to go through it with them. The majority of them are going to do ambiguous mark, overvote, and write-in. Not write-in qualified, just write-in. Okay? And we've done training with all of them, so they should know. Some of them may get nervous as you're going through this, like I said. It's a stressful day for everybody. They say, well, I can't remember. Again, do not hesitate to call.
So
That's what we're here for.
And they're the ones that'll be doing all this, we're just watching them?
You're just backseat driving, yep. Yeah, we're not allowed to be touching the equipment in any way.
All right.
Even though that we can get frustrated and say, it's right there, just click right, get out of the way, let me drive. No, let them drive. The last 2 pages in the same section of adjudication is how to create an adjudication report tape. Some of the places that I've already been to, again, this is only if you have RTR and adjudication. If they don't have adjudication, then you're not going to be following this, okay? Because then they're just going to print their reports out of the ICC. This is exactly what the county wants the filters to be set at. So obviously the name's going to change, from Brownstown to Romulus or to whatever the jurisdiction's name is. Then it's going to have the ABCB. That's the Absentee Voting Counting Board. That's what that stands for. And then the tabulator number. They'll know what their ABCB is. Okay, and then you need to set one for each one. So if they have multiple counting boards, and some of them do, some of them don't, some of them only have one. Others, like Detroit, have 125. So they need to be building the reports for every counting board that they have for the tapes. Set the filters. Like I said, it's pretty step by step by the county. And then you can save the report. So then you only have to create it once. And then you can just go double click on it and all those filters will auto-populate for you. And then you can just click create report again and again and again. And you never have to go back in and create that same report once it's all done. I would suggest setting this up early in the morning with them. And the county sent this sheet to them, but you may have to use your copy. I've gone to places and said, can I see that sheet real quick? And they said, well, I don't have it. Nobody sent it to me. Like I said, they get thousands of emails from customers and media and everybody else, so sometimes things get missed. So this will be very helpful for you. I've set a lot of them, but I have not set all of them. That pretty much kind of concludes an introduction to everything. Like I said, I'd like to do an open house. We have the room until 6 p.m. tonight. So I would like 3 or 4 people an hour to go through everything. And, you know, I don't know if we can set those times now, or I think we could probably... Does anybody have to stay now? Can anybody come later? Does anybody prefer later to now?
It doesn't matter.
Make a list.
Let's
Pass around a list.
let's do this. Let's do everybody at Detroit. So Danielle, Warren, Ahmad, Kirk, Milton, Sam, Ron, and Melissa. Let's go at, we're pushing 10 o'clock now, so let's do 11:30 for Detroit. Okay? And then John, Sanjay, Susan, and Galinda, let's do 12:30. And then Andrew, Kevin, Timon, Lynn, let's do 1:30. Then Nellie, Nikki, Amy, and Jordan, and Lonnie. We'll do 2:30. And Kirsty, you're doing a listener's county.
Yeah, I'll be at the county in the big today, so when I come back from all that, I can swing by.
Okay. Yeah. And also, Lynn made a good point to me today. He said he wanted to go over and go to the customer site today, check in with them in person rather than over the phone, get kind of a layout of their operation, kind of see what to expect and what they're walking into tomorrow. If you'd like to do that, that's perfectly okay. I would say for Detroit, we don't want to do that.
I'm sorry. Excuse me, I've got a call. I've got to go.
Okay.
I got the 12:30.
Yeah, Detroit, we don't want to do that. There's no need to do it. We've already been in communication with them and talked to them quite a bit weekly for the past month. But for all the smaller ones, I would suggest offering that if that would help you folks as well. But it is optional, it's not required. Okay. Go ahead.
So, I'm assigned to Detroit. We don't have to go there, are you saying?
Today.
Today.
Tomorrow, yes. And when you come in, we're going to call Tim, Danielle and I will call Tim. We're going to set up the times for everything, but I've already talked to him. I know it's going to be 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. They're going to plan to work basically 36 to 48 hours straight. We're going to try to, I've got to talk to Nick about this, but you're not going to work 48 hours straight. There's no way that we're going to let you do that. So, because they have shifts coming in. So we want everybody there at the beginning, and then we may end up sending you home at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon to come back at 10:30 at night to work till 6 a.m. in the morning. Yeah. But like I said, I'll talk to Nick and Sam about that and get everything set up. But there may be a chance that you work from 6 a.m. until 6 a.m. There's actually probably a pretty good chance that that's a possibility. From my understanding in Michigan, there's no cap on a work day. I clarified that with our HR last night. So if we have to go 24 hours, then we're gonna go 24 hours.
Well,
You're
not
gonna
for
have lots
me.
of caffeine, I hope.
I hope, I think a lot of these places have coffee on standby for you.
Well, I'm not familiar with Detroit, my first time here, so I'll just drive over there, just, check out parking and.
Yeah, are you at the TCF Center? I think you're at the
Yeah,
TCF Center, right? Yeah, so there's a parking garage, and if you Google TCF rooftop, it'll take you right there. And if you go in, I think it's $15 an hour or something, $40 max for the day, so don't actually drive in. But you can get an idea where the TCF Center is. I think you're just gonna take the Highway 94 here towards Detroit, get off on 76, and then 76 up there, I'm pretty sure. I think it's 76.
76 is Colorado.
It's 75.
75. Yeah, 76 is Colorado, sorry. Yeah.
So we got parking validated
Yeah, and if they're, from my understanding, the gate is supposed to be up all day, and they'll have maybe not armed guards, but they're gonna have security up there 24 hours a day. You know.
Speaking
You're
of
saying-
armed
you're
guards,
saying-
I was told that people here can take guns to the polls.
Yes. Yeah. Open carry is legal at the polls in Michigan. Yes.
They're gonna issue us black jackets.
I wish. Well, I think you gotta have a permit to buy one of those.
PPE.
PPE, yeah.
Oh yeah. Go ahead, John.
So masks obviously are mandatory. What about gloves? Are they mandatory or?
I think that's all preference to you. If you want to wear gloves, great. If not, great. I think that's up to you. Masks are mandatory. I do have PPE for everybody over here, with the exception of the full-time employees. I was told that you guys were to bring it from Denver and Texas and everywhere else and request it. So I only have enough for the contractors. However, I do have extras. So if you need some more in your full-time with us, please feel free to grab a bag. What it has is 2 masks, 2 sets of gloves for tomorrow. The pink is small, the blue is large, the black is medium-sized gloves. We do have extra sets of gloves. If there's no more pink left, you can take a pair of the mediums and just grab a couple pink gloves for you there. So,
David, you said park on top of the TCF Center?
yeah, there's a rooftop parking there,
Okay.
and the gate should be lifted. So it shouldn't cost you anything.
Okay.
If it does, then we're just going to need to expense it.
Sure.
Log everything, and then you'll fill that out on an expense report, just like your gas or anything like that. Does anybody else have any questions? Anything that I may have not covered that you'd like more detail on, or?
A couple of us that's going to Detroit will be working on some units that they never got to. Not for the field, but this is for the extra units that they have. Steve's supposed to have sent some stuff to you.
Yeah, I've got it in my room.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah, I'll bring that down. You guys are all coming in together at
Yeah.
11:30, right?
11:30.
That's why I said Detroit's at 11:30.
Okay. Sounds good.
So yeah, I'll go get that box, bring it down here. I think it's got some cleaning sheets for the rovers, and then also a bunch of parts. And I don't know what parts are in your ICPs that you fix, but I know like Mylars and stuff like that. So
The main equipment that breaks, like motherboards.
yeah, there should be 5 of each in there.
Oh,
I see
okay.
some bent inverters too.
Yeah, that's not big.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys will be too busy on them. It's hard to say right now. So
Okay.
we'll see how it goes. Any other questions? All right, we will all see you at your designated time. It's 10 o'clock now, so for the folks for Detroit, you can get your lunch or breakfast or.
What did you say, the next one? Tomorrow.
I'm sorry?
Did you say you were going to Detroit?
I'm not. I'm gonna be a rover.
Mickey, you want small or
So you
medium?
drive around to all the different places to fix issues.
Oh, okay. And what was your
Jordan?
Jordan.
Yes. Your name. Nice to meet you.
So you're on the contact list?
Yeah, I should.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's good to
Okay. So you're just gonna be in between?
Yep. So, if any issues pop up, let me know. I can help out.
Sure.
Like I said, I want you to know, you're gonna end up working harder from 8 p.m.
Yes.
to 3 in the morning.
Yeah, and they're gonna kind of go through all the equipment to 6 a.m. So.
Alrighty, thank you so much, I appreciate it.
Oh, I think these are the good until the, I think it's a 36-hour day.
I think I might not go.
I would say, works, that's probably, that gives me some sense. I would say just be here on call. Yeah, and then just hang out. Direct phone calls.
It really wasn't that bad. I've been in the work. You had some trouble. It's just when we got down to close to land, that's when all the I was praying.